The moment her cheek was slapped in front of 200 students, everyone thought she'd break, but what she did next shocked the entire school, exposed every lie, flipped the power dynamic overnight, and led her straight into the kind of love story no one saw coming. If you want more powerful emotional stories like this, don't forget to subscribe. The slap cracked through the morning air like a microphone blast, ringing across the courtyard and freezing the chatter of nearly 200 students as Mia Hartley staggered backward, her cheek exploding with heat and her books skidding across the concrete in a helpless scatter of loose pages, colored tabs, and the tiny origami hearts she folded when she was nervous, and every eye locked on the scene as Haley Burns, the queen bee of Ridgewood High, ruler of gossip, homecoming committee, and general terrorizer of anyone who breathed wrong, stood smirking with her perfectly manicured hands still halfway lifted like she was posing for a villain's magazine cover, and for one long moment, everyone waited for Mia to cry because that was what she usually did, quietly, swallowing it down, hoping no one noticed her existence, but today something inside her shifted like a hinge snapping back into place, something she didn't even know she had, and instead of tears, she slowly lifted her eyes, steady and unblinking, as 200 students watched her straighten her posture while her heartbeat hammered like a war drum, and she said in a voice much calmer than she felt, "Are you done?" Which made a ripple of gasps break through the courtyard because no one, absolutely no one, had ever talked back to Haley Burns in the history of Ridgewood High, and Haley, caught off guard for half a second, recovered with a scoff and rolled her eyes, flipping her blonde hair over her shoulder as she hissed loud enough for everyone to hear, "Stay away from Ethan. You're embarrassing yourself," which made Mia's stomach twist because she didn't even like Ethan, the golden boy basketball captain who flirted with anything that cast a shadow, but rumors had started because he smiled at her once in chemistry when she passed him a beaker, and Haley, Ethan's ex who still acted like his current, had decided Mia needed public humiliation as a reminder of the hierarchy, but before Mia could respond, Ethan himself pushed through the crowd with his concerned hero expression, the one he used whenever cameras or classmates were watching, and he reached out like he wanted to comfort her, saying, "Haley, what the hell? Leave her alone," but Mia stepped back fast enough that his hand caught only air, because what no one knew, what she kept hidden behind her shy demeanor and soft sweaters, was that Ethan wasn't the nice guy he pretended to be. He was the one who started the rumor that she had a crush on him just to boost his own ego, and he was the one who told Haley that Mia was obsessed. So when she looked at him now, her voice held no tremor as she said, "Don't pretend you're defending me," and the courtyard erupted again because quiet Mia had become a completely different person in the span of 60 seconds, and while Ethan stood there dumbfounded, trying to calculate the correct facial expression for sympathy, a movement on the steps caught Mia's attention. Luke Palmer, the quiet, brilliant, artistic boy with inky black hair that fell slightly over his eyes in a habit of sketching alone on the bleachers, was staring straight at her, not with shock like everyone else but with a strange mix of admiration and worry, because Luke had known Mia since middle school, back when they both spent lunch in the library hiding from louder students, and after years of drifting, he still noticed every time her hands shook in class or every time she tugged her sleeves down a little too far, and without meaning to, she met his gaze, and something soft and grounding flickered there, reminding her she wasn't alone, but Haley, realizing she'd lost control of the narrative, stepped forward again, ready for round two, and sneered, "What's your problem, Mia? You think you're special now? You think anyone here cares about you?" And the old Mia might have shrunk back, but the new Mia inhaled slowly, scooped up her fallen notebooks, and said with quiet steel, "No. I don't think I'm special. I just know I'm done letting people walk all over me," which made Haley's face go red with rage, especially when the students began whispering, some even smirking because it was the first time someone had challenged her publicly, and Haley lunged forward like she might slap Mia again, but before her hand even lifted, Luke stepped between them like a shield, not aggressive, just firm, and said, "Haley, back off," and the courtyard collectively lost its breath because Luke didn't involve himself in drama, ever. So when he planted himself in front of Mia, it meant something, and Haley, flustered and furious, spat, "Seriously? You're defending her? You're both pathetic," before storming off with her entourage scrambling behind her like mismatched ducklings, and the moment she was gone, the crowd loosened, people whispering, replaying the slap, the standoff, the unexpected reversal, and Mia wanted nothing more than to curl into a quiet corner, but Luke turned to her gently and said, "Mia, are you okay?" And she nodded, even though the sting on her cheek throbbed like fire, and he hesitated before taking her books from her hands, arranging them neatly, something small but unexpectedly intimate, and he whispered, "You didn't deserve that." Not any of it, and Mia's chest tightened with something unspoken and warm because Luke had always been kind to her in the ways that mattered. Subtle, quiet, real, and as they walked to class, whispers followed them like trailing smoke, and by lunch, the entire school was buzzing with theories. Was Mia secretly a savage? Was Luke into her? Was Haley losing her grip? And instead of shrinking from the attention like she usually did, Mia kept her head high, though her heart pounded whenever she remembered the slap and the hundreds of eyes watching. And things escalated faster than anyone expected because Haley, not used to losing, launched a campaign of petty revenge, posting twisted rumors on anonymous school pages, sabotaging Mia's locker so everything fell out, even convincing a teacher to accuse Mia of cheating on a test. Until Luke, noticing Mia's stress building like pressure in a soda can, invited her to the art room after school, where he spent his afternoons painting silent masterpieces no one ever saw. And when she arrived, expecting him to be working, she was stunned to find a massive canvas filled with warm golden hues and delicate lines forming the shape of a girl standing strong in windstorm, her hair whipping but her posture unbroken, and she realized with a jolt that the girl was her, or at least how Luke saw her. And when she whispered, "Why did you paint this?" he said softly, "Because you needed to see yourself the way I do," and something inside Mia cracked wide open, spilling feelings she didn't know she still had access to. And the more time they spent together, the more she felt the world tilt in unfamiliar but beautiful ways. Late-night texts filled with half-shared secrets, study sessions where he drew tiny cartoons of her in the margins of her notes, afternoons where he played guitar softly while she worked on homework, and somewhere between stolen glances and shared silences, Mia realized she was falling for him, not the dramatic, overwhelming kind of teenage infatuation but the steady, undeniable, soul-deep kind that felt like home. But Haley wasn't done, not by a long shot. And her final strike came during the spring showcase, where Luke's painting of Mia was selected to be displayed publicly, something he hadn't told her because he wanted to surprise her. But Haley found out and decided it was the perfect opportunity to destroy Mia's reputation. So on the night of the showcase, while the gym buzzed with parents, teachers, and students admiring the art, Haley cornered Mia in the restroom with two of her sidekicks blocking the door, and she hissed, "I warned you to stay in your place. You embarrassed me, now I'm going to embarrass you." And before Mia could react, Haley held up her phone, showing a doctored screenshot making it look like Mia had been sending desperate love messages to Ethan for months, something that would spread through the school like wildfire once Haley posted it. But Mia didn't crumble this time. Instead she stared directly at Haley and said, "You're doing all this because deep down you're terrified people will see who you really are." And Haley faltered for a split second, her mask shaking, before she barked a laugh and shoved past Mia to march toward the gym, ready to unleash her fake evidence. But the universe, or fate, or karma intervened in the most unexpected way, because when Haley burst into the gym trying to get everyone's attention, her phone screen lit up, not with her fake screenshot, but with a video notification sent anonymously to the entire school district. A video of her slapping Mia in the courtyard, followed by footage of Haley bragging about framing Mia for cheating, clips her own friends had secretly recorded after growing tired of her cruelty. And the gym erupted in gasps, murmurs turning into outrage as Haley's face went white as chalk, and Mia stood in the doorway, stunned, realizing someone had exposed Haley. But who? And then she saw Luke standing near the stage, holding his phone down by his side, his expression unreadable but his eyes soft when they found hers, and she knew it had been him who convinced Haley's former friends to hand over the videos, him who edited, him who waited for the right moment, not for revenge but for justice. And everything that happened next unfolded in a blur. Teachers escorting Haley out as she screamed in denial, Ethan trying to slink away unnoticed, students whispering apologies to Mia for not stepping in sooner, and the principal personally assuring Mia her record would be cleared and Haley would face disciplinary action. But the moment that changed everything wasn't any of that. It was when Luke walked up to Mia in the center of the gym, surrounded by the same 200 students who had witnessed the slap, and he gently touched the side of her face where the redness had long faded and said, "I meant what I painted. You're stronger than you know." And Mia, overwhelmed with gratitude and something deeper, whispered, "I wouldn't have gotten through any of this without you." And Luke shook his head softly and replied, "You would have. I just stood beside you while you found your voice." And before she could stop herself, she leaned in and kissed him, not dramatic, not staged, just soft and real, and the entire gym seemed to melt into warm light. And although Mia expected whispers or laughter, there was only applause, raw and genuine, because for once the school was cheering for kindness instead of cruelty. And from that day forward, everything changed. Mia stopped shrinking herself to fit into the quiet corners of life, Luke stopped hiding his art like it was something to be ashamed of, and together they became the kind of couple people admired, not because they were perfect or popular but because they were proof that even in the brutal world of high school, courage could bloom from pain, love could rise from ashes, and one girl's refusal to stay silent after a slap could rewrite the entire story of who she was meant to become.